Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. So a big reason I want to leave the United States is that we have this bad habit of kicking people when they are down. Or when people are strong, we actually respect them. And when they're down, we like to take advantage of them, kick them while they're down. And I teach at a community college now, and I often talk about how much better the working conditions are over there compared to other places I've worked in the past. But you know what? It's not 100% true. I think what has happened is that my situation is a whole lot better. And as a result, I can actually negotiate from strength, and people actually respect that. And if I were weak again today, I think I would still run into the same toxicity. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm recording this on today is May 10th. My anniversary is coming up. June 11th is my anniversary. The first time I ever went on a date with myself. It'll be 15 years this year. But 3 years ago, on my 12th anniversary, I ran into some difficulty. I was teaching at a tutoring center, and my boss was Muslim, and a bunch of my coworkers were also Muslim. I think he hired them through mutual friends, right? And I had I used to be a little bit more open than I probably should have been. I was really proud of the fact that I was solosexual, and I bragged to a bunch of my coworkers and even some of my students. Right, one of my students, he had just broken up with his girlfriend. He was heartbroken about it because they had planned to do some things. And I told him that he could try doing those things with himself and see how he feels about it. And I was really proud of converting him to a solosexual. But my boss was so upset about it. He thought I had overstepped some boundaries there. But anyway, so he knew my anniversary was coming up. And we used to get our schedules every Sunday afternoon, and he emailed me a schedule with my anniversary, and he wasn't even apologetic about it. It was one of, and not only that, it was a very insulting schedule. It had gaps in there, and so I really despise having 1 2 hour gaps in my schedule because the tutoring center is in a part of town that I really don't have much business being in. It's just a huge waste of my time, and he wasn't even apologetic about it. Had he said that, had he called me and asked me if it were okay, I probably would have showed up, by the way. Had he said, we're really sorry, we got new students, I know it's your anniversary, happy anniversary to you, oh, thank you so much, it's great that we have new students, I'll come, he could have gotten the same result without the toxicity, let's put it that way. But for some reason, he decided to be passive aggressive about it. Now, this was in June. Now, I wanted to take revenge on him, and so I decided to look up his social media to see if he had a birthday or an anniversary or anything coming up that I would conveniently get sick on. Now, he's very tight-lipped about these things, and I even tried to pry it out of him, hey, how long have you been married, anniversary or anything coming up? And he didn't budge on that. So instead, I looked up what the Muslim New Year was. I think it's in July, August usually. And I conveniently got COVID on the day of the New Year. I called him the night before, and I hung my head behind my bed so that it would distort my voice, and explained that unfortunately I had COVID. He was so upset about it. And he was like, all right, get well, and he hung up the phone. And I was like, I was so pleased I got my revenge. But I felt at the same time that I was pleased I got my revenge on him, I felt really sorry for the students. These are very gifted students that we were working with, and they had to suffer because of some adult drama that they have no idea what's going on, right? That they have no business being in. And it's one of those things that if I were in a better situation, it might not have played out that way. I would have just declared that, hey, June 11th is my anniversary. Sorry, I hope you find another teacher for that day. That's how I would play it nowadays, right? Or, better yet, call him out for his passive aggressiveness, because he never sends an email like that. Better yet, call him out for it. Hey, I would have worked June 11th, but you recognize this is my anniversary, right? And maybe even ask them, these gaps of 1 hour, 2 hours there, you gonna pay me for that? Because it's a huge waste of my time. I live in Redmond. You're in what was that? Downtown Seattle. I can't even remember what that place was called now. Right? Or can you find other work in between? Maybe you need other logistical stuff being done, right? Data entry on your computer or something, right? Because this is a big commute on my anniversary, right? Nowadays I would probably do that, but I'm in a position of strength right now, right? I was teaching at a Washington Technology University, a technical college, and I got stepped all over while I was there. First, I had a coworker who had a sister with long COVID, and she wanted to take care of her, and I filled in for her. And also, what was really insulting was that cost of living in Seattle was not cheap, right? I was living out of my car. One day, another coworker called me to say they had a home emergency. Water pipe had burst and asked if I could come in. It was November. She called me at like 7, 8 a.m. It was really cold. I usually like to wake up at 9, 10 a.m. when the sun's already out, so I'm not freezing. It was very upsetting. She called me at 7, and I had to go to the gym, take a shower, and then, I love all the students. I wasn't necessarily upset when I was teaching the students, but I finished the class, and then it hit me. Did I hear what I just hear? My coworker, she's fortunate enough to own a home here in Bellevue. They go for like 2 million plus. I'm living out of my car, and I'm the one to help her, right? Maybe I should ask her, hey, I actually live out of my car and I helped you, and so you could go get your house repaired. Can I crash in your home for a couple days to make up for that? I should have asked her that. See how she feels. I know she's probably not going to let me crash in her home. Possibly not. But at the same time, I wanted her to digest this. I should have said that. Now that I'm in a position of strength, I might just say that next time, right? Now, on the flip side of that, while I was at WTU, we were struggling to get accreditations, and my dean was very thankful she was thankful on the outside that I was submitting papers to the conference and helping get our name out there. But I was using my own time and my own travel expenses to do that, right? And oftentimes I would have to go away unpaid, right? Because I gave all my vacation time to my colleague who was tending to her sister. So not only did I pay for what should have been, I basically paid for my colleague's maternity leave or whatever it was, and I also paid for all the conference expenses to help our school. I mean, we still went under anyway, right? And it's just very thankless for that. Now contrast that to today. Now that I'm in a much better position of strength, it turns out I didn't go to a conference last year, but you know what? I went to go see my girlfriend, and I got paid time off to do that, right? Compared to in the past, I had to use my own time to go to a conference. Now I get paid time to go see a girlfriend, right? It just goes to show you want to be in a position of strength, right? To negotiate these things, right? Oh, there was another one. I really despise workplaces where where my posture is not in the best, right? So I was teaching at a tutoring center, and one of my students, our classrooms are kind of small, and one of my students, now he's one of the better students that I had, decided that he needed to sit really close to me, and as a result, I didn't even have somewhere to set my book down, and it created a lot of posture issue. Let's just put it that way. And I really like that job. Sometimes the management might be another story, but I really liked all of the students, and I didn't want to rock the boat, right? And again, this is something that if it happened today, I would outright tell the student, right? You realize, right? You only come here for 2 hours, but I teach here for 6 hours, right? What can I suggest to make it easier for you to see if that's the issue, right? At the time, I didn't have the strength to do that because I needed the job and I needed the money, I needed the connections. Now that I have a social life outside of work, I have some money, right? I have some side hustles. It doesn't feel that way anymore, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.